Hi, I'm Jenny. Thanks for being here. I'm so glad you stopped by to hang out for a while today. So, today I wanted to talk about ways to exercise your creativity. I hear a lot of people go, "Oh, I'm just not that creative," or I don't think I can do that. Part of that is just confidence, but confidence comes from exercising something. Just like when you go to the gym and you exercise and you build those muscles, if you exercise your creativity on a regular basis, you will build those creative muscles and you will gain confidence and you will be willing to take more risks and you will find that you have more solutions for creative problems. And so I just wanted to talk about some things today that I have done in the past personally, and some exercises that I used to use with my students let's see, I'm moving that here, to help them boost their creativity. And sometimes creative thinking can be artistic, but a lot of times it's just being able to look at something in a different way. And then we can use that kind of thinking in any endeavor. So it could be in a creative endeavor like your junk journals or a painting or drawing or something or writing, or it could be, in any kind of problem solving that you might have. So I just want to talk about some different exercises you can do to kind of get your creative juices flowing and help you think outside the box a little bit. So the first one would be, how many ways, can you think of to use something? And I mean silly, not real, doesn't matter, no judgment, any kind of ways. So if we think of something really common, like a plastic bottle cap off of a twist off soda bottle, how many different ways can you think of to use that? And so it could be a cap for Pixie. It could be a stand for a table in a miniature. You could turn it over and it could be a swimming pool for the high dive of a flea circus. All right, so can you list at least 10 different things you could do with some everyday ordinary object? And, maybe just find something laying around in your studio on your craft table, something like that. What can you do with it? So think of different things. So make a list. Make a list of things. And if you can't think of, 10 right off the bat, that's okay. Walk away, come back, add some more later. Keep thinking, right? Let your brain work on it for a little while. So idea number 2 is to do random line drawings. And by that I mean it's sort of like looking at the clouds and seeing shapes in the clouds, and we all do that when we're kids. So this is kind of a different version of that. So use your non-dominant hand. So if you're right-handed, that would be use your left hand, put a pencil or something in your left hand, close your eyes, and draw some squiggly lines on a piece of paper. Open your eyes, put your pencil over in your dominant hand, and start turning the paper and seeing what you can see. Can you connect some of those? Can you make something into that? Does it look like the head of a cat? Does it look like a spider? Does it look like a tree? What does it look like? So draw a few things, and then when you don't see anything else, turn the paper. Draw something else. Use those lines. Connect the lines. Make it into something. Keep turning the paper until you have used all of those lines to make some kind of little drawing for each one, or connect it, or make a big overall drawing. Maybe, one of them's maybe there you have flowers, and then maybe you have a dragon in the middle, something like that. So whatever you see, like when you're looking at the clouds and you see, shapes and stuff in the clouds, do the same thing with those lines, but just keep turning the paper. Number 3 is a dictionary story. I used to do this with my students. It was a good way to kind of get their creative juices flowing when we were going to do some writing. So we might start with a little writing exercise. So if you take an old dictionary, and I know most of us have a dictionary somewhere, although, well, maybe not anymore. Maybe these days, not so much. Okay, I'll take that back. Most of us probably don't have a dictionary. I still have a dictionary, but I'm old school. Maybe you have one in your craft room that you use to cut up and cut words out of. I don't know. You can usually get one at Goodwill or other thrift shops for just $1 or $2 if you want a dictionary, because they're fun to cut up. So if you take a dictionary and you just open it to a random page, close your eyes, put your finger on a word. So use that word plus the one above it and the one below it to write just a quick little story, like a paragraph, a few sentences. But use all 3 of those words to make a, cohesive kind of little story to go together. So that's one way. Another writing prompt that we used to do to foster creative thinking is to write a poem structured after another poem. So if there's a poem or a haiku, something, well, haiku's a poem, but it's a very short one. If there's a particular structure you like, haiku, sonnet, triolet, something like that, use a structure that you like if you're familiar with it. If not, if there's a poem that you like, stopping by woods on a snowy evening, look at the structure. Maybe you want to use the rhyme scheme. Maybe you want to look at how he, uses repeated lines, that kind of stuff. So look at how the poem is put together, use that structure, and write about something completely different. Write about whatever's on your mind. Write about a problem you're having with your, junk journal. Write about something that you can't seem to get done. Write about doing chores when, I have to do chores, but I don't, it's like when he says the woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep. It's like, well, my studio is lovely, cool and quiet, but I have laundry to do, right? So that kind of thing. So use the structure of a poem you like and know, and write about something totally different, because then that forces you to marry the two things. It forces you to use some sort of structure, but put a creative spin on it. For idea number 5, how about a repeat drawing? So this is a really good way to increase your drawing skills. So pick something that's pretty basic, a pencil cup, a mug, right? Or, something, and draw it every day for a week. But every time you draw it, add more detail. So the first time I draw this, I might just draw really just the basic shape and some stuff sticking up. Then the second time I draw it, I might try to get some of that texture in there, right? And I might try to do a little more detail on the handle. And then the third time I draw it, I might add, some of the details in on some of the pens that are sticking up. They're different kinds, right? So every time I draw it, I'm going to try to add more detail. Maybe I will add some color shading. Maybe I'll use pencils. Maybe I'll use colored pencils instead of just a black, just a plain pencil. Maybe I'll use colored pencils and do some shading. So every time I draw it, I'm going to try to draw it with more detail. So that forces me to A, look at the detail, B, practice my drawing skills, and C, kind of approach it in a creative way. How much detail can I add? And if I've added all the detail I can see, can I imagine some other detail? What else could I imagine maybe? What other details could I add? Right. So number 6 is another writing prompt that we used to do. I used to do with my students. It's called 6-word story. Ernest Hemingway made this very famous. But you can do a 6-word story every day for a week on the same theme. We used to do them for holidays. We used to write like a 6-word scary story for Halloween. That's one of the things that we would do. And then, we'd spend time writing, and we'd write a bunch, and then we'd read them out loud and like vote on winners and things like that. So, you might have the idea is to encompass a story in just 6 words. So you want to try to leave things implied where, you have to use your imagination to fill them in, but certainly the story is there. Happy elves snooze through Christmas Day. So why are they happy? Why are they snoozing? Why are you so sleepy that, that you're going to snooze through Christmas Day? Because you're so tired, because you're an elf, because, your job is done, right? Life's gifts don't wait for Christmas. Something like that. Right. So think about, you might choose a theme and use 6 words to tell a little story every day. And that's a good one really to do with the family. It's a lot of fun to like sit around the dinner table and try to write 6-word stories. Well, it's fun in my family. Number 7 is something that I have done with students in the past. It's called 30 circles. And these are not all my ideas, right? I did not come up with these ideas. These are things from all different places online. I just want to be clear that, this is not something I did. I just saw these in different places over the course of my career. So in 30 circles, I used to hand out a piece of paper, and it had 30 like little circles on the front of the paper. And the idea was in 5 minutes, you had to draw something different in each one of the circles. And what this does is this forces you to put something down without judgment. You can go back later and edit. You can go back later and say, that's an idea. Sometimes we would do 30 words, 30 ideas. You might write, 30 topics. and then we go back and edit and pick a topic, something, and narrow it and things like that. And then when I was teaching art, we did this for drawing to kind of, so you might draw an eye in one, and you might draw, a cat in another, and you might draw a flower in another. So you just need as many of those circles as you can fill in like 5 minutes. And you just don't have time to think about it. You just have to draw something and move on. And it allows you to access parts of your brain that is just like they're willing to spit out ideas. And this is just kind of ideas you can, like your brain dumping ideas. And then you can go back and go, that one's a good idea, or that one maybe not, or maybe I could take these 3 things and combine them and make something out of them, right? So that's one way to do that. Number 8 is to draw the saying. So there might be just a phrase like, here comes trouble. Nicknames, happy mess when I was a kid. Silver lining. That's crazy cat. Happy as clam. Right? Just really random, anything like that. Take something really random and try to draw something that illustrates that. Right? So that is a fun way to combine interpretation and drawing skills. And you don't have to be great at drawing. Nobody has to see this. This can be in your sketchbook or on scrap paper or whatever. It's just an exercise, right? This is not about, I have to have the most detailed, best drawing. That's not what it's about. It's about finding ways to connect in your head. And it's fun to do this kind of thing with a group and see what everybody draws. Like you all have the same phrase, and then everybody draws what they think of, for 10 minutes maybe or something like that, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then you show it to everybody, you share, right? And we see how everybody's brain works differently to come up with a different connection for that phrase. 9 and 10, the last 2, are problem-solving strategies, and you can apply these. We would apply these to things in school. But you can also apply them to creative problem-solving things. If you have a journal that you're stuck with, if you have a page that you're just not sure, if you're sitting there going, I just don't know what to do, you can employ a problem-solving strategy to kind of get you unstuck. Okay, so the first one is called the scamper strategy, and that is substitute. So what could I substitute for something I have here? Or if I don't have the materials that I think I want, what could I substitute for them? What do I have that would be in essence the same kind of thing but different, right? C is for combine. How could I combine things to make something new? How can I combine things that I don't usually put together to make something different? A is for adapt. Can I adapt this to be something else? Can I make something else out of this? And there's my phone. Hang on just a minute. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. Back to the scamper method. So we've done S for substitute, C for combine, A for adapt. M is magnify or minify. If I made this element, this thing, bigger, could I do something else with it? If I made it smaller, would it change it? Can I do something else with it? And sometimes when we look at elements in our layouts, maybe if I were looking at a layout, I might go, if I magnified this little thing, could I make one big layout of it? What if I took this little piece of a drawing and blew it up and made it great big and made a whole page out of that? That might be a different way to look at something. Or what if I took this big thing and made it small? I have a bird that's this big, and I decide I want something that's this big because I just want it to be a little tiny element. Okay, so if I make it big or if I make it small, does that change anything? Can I change the layout? Can I change something else? So that's M. So P is put to other uses. Could I make this bird do something else? If I had a little bird and I was going to, do I want it sitting on a wire? Do I want it sitting on a hat? Do I want it sitting on somebody's head? How can I use something else? Maybe I want it flying upside down in a different direction. Maybe I've got it on the wire, but he's tipped this way. E is for eliminate. What could I take out? What if I take something out? Does that make it better? What if I rearrange? If I take something out and rearrange, does that make it better? So scamper is one way to kind of look at whatever you're trying to fix or do and ask yourself these questions. Does this change it? Can I make it better? Can I make it different? Do I like it better? And better is relative. Better is relative to whether you like it, not does somebody else think it's better. Do you think it's better? Does it feel better? Right? Another strategy for problem solving if you're having trouble is called the 4 directions strategy. So we would do this sometimes. So the first direction to look is towards logic. We look towards logic. What are the facts about this situation, this page? The facts might be it's 8.5 by 11. It's pink. I have used red crayon. It has marker on it. It has paint, right? What are the facts that I can state about this page, right? No judgment, just facts. What are the physical facts? The next direction, so we have direction 1 is logic. Direction 2 is emotion. What do I feel about each of those facts, right? It's pink. I don't like pink. Okay, so I'm probably going to want to change that. Or it's blue. I love blue. It's my favorite color. Okay, so that makes me happy, right? So each of the facts that I stated, what emotional attachment is there? There's a large circle in the middle of the page. Meh, I don't like it. I don't dislike it. It's blah, blah. I feel blah about it, right? So I'm going to probably want to do something about that because it's blah. So whatever each of those logical things, each of those factual statements, take a look at the emotion that goes with it and decide whether that means we want to keep it or not, right? Then that helps you make some sort of judgment about those facts. A third direction you can look is called optimism. What are the possibilities of this if there were no barriers, if there were no limitations? What possible outcomes could I have? What are the optimistic possible things? This could be the greatest piece of art on the face of the earth if there were no outcomes. Okay, but be more specific. Right, what could I have? I could have a page in my book that when I open it, I go, why? What would make me feel that way? Okay, so you just want to keep digging. What possibilities, what optimistic possibilities are there? And then the fourth direction is the opposite of that. What challenges are there to making those possibilities happen? Right, so you just want to reevaluate each of those possibilities. This could turn into a beautiful masterpiece with glitter. Oh, glitter would make it right. Okay, so what are the challenges of that? Well, too much glitter can be overkill is one challenge. Another challenge might be that glitter is messy. Another challenge might be that glitter, is hard to work with and you have to wait for it to dry. Okay, so then you weigh. Right. So the 4 directions is a process of weighing. It's a process of weighing the logical facts against the emotions created by those facts. And in the other set, the optimistic possible outcomes and the challenges that are arising from those, optimistic possibilities. Okay. And then you can weigh each of those and decide. Okay. So those are 10 ways that you can, boost your creativity. I guess it's really 8 ways to boost your creativity and 2 ways to use creativity to solve problems. So creative problem solving, creativity boosting, it's all kind of in the same thing together. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you had a great time here. Give me a thumbs up if you did. I'd really appreciate it. Anytime you watch something on YouTube, if you are, enjoying the video at all, even part of it, please hit that like button. It helps all creators, not just me, but all of us. It does us a big favor. Do us a solid, right? So thanks again for being here. I'll see you soon. Bye.